Coding exercise 1 from section 3.3.5. We are tasked with writing a program that will print the times table for the value given by Mr. Int. The times table should print a 2-column table of the products of every combination of two numbers from 1 through Mr. Int. We need to separate consecutive numbers with either tabs or spaces, whichever one we prefer. And before we start off, there's an important hint right here. To do this, we'll want to use two nested loops. The first one will print the rows, and the second one will print columns within each row. So let's go ahead and start. What we're going to want to do is we're going to have instantiate a for loop that will iterate through the range of whatever Mr. Int is, which in this case is 5. And then since we want to have two nested loops, we're going to instantiate another for loop inside of the first one that will also execute from the range of whatever Mr. Int is. So what I'm going to do is, for now, I'm just going to print out whatever the value of x is combined with whatever the value of y is. And then we can see how it's being executed, so then we can work off from there. As you can see, we have 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, up until 4, 4. So this is almost what we want, but not quite. A couple things to note is we have pairs, right? So as you can see, we start off with 0, 0. So x is the first column, and then y is the second column. X stays the same all the way up until y becomes 4, and then x changes from 0 to 1, and then y goes through its iteration, and then x changes to 2, y goes through its iteration, etc., etc. So why is this happening? So a couple things to understand. The outer for loop is going through the numbers from 0 to 4 based on the range. And the inner for loop is doing the same thing. It's iterating from 0 to whatever the value of Mr. Int is. An important thing to note is that the inner for loop executes completely before the outer for loop progresses onto whatever the next value in the range is. So what I mean by that is, as you can see, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this represents the inner for loop, the y variable. And then the 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, the 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, all the way down to 4, that represents the x's. An additional thing to note is that we're going from 0 to 4. However, we want to go from 1 all the way up until the value of Mr. Int. So we need to change the range slightly. What we're going to do is we're going to start the range to be at 1, and then we're going to add 1 to whatever the last value is. The reason for that is the first value always starts at 0 and it's inclusive, and then the second value is exclusive, meaning it goes right up to that value but not including that value. And then we'll do the same thing for the inner range. And now when I run this, you'll see it goes from 1 all the way to 5. Alright, perfect. Now we have the numbers that we want. Now how can we work on top of this? So one thing that we can do is let's just simply print out whatever x times y is. So we'll print x, we'll print y, and then we'll print out x times y. Alright, perfect. So if we look above, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the first 5 in the third column. And then 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, all the way down until we get to 25. So good, we have the numbers we want. So now how can we go about have it display as a table instead of just one big long column? So here, now we look at the second hint. So here it says, how can you print the numbers across the row without starting a new line each time? With what we know now, you could build the string for the row, but only print it once you finish the row. So let's go ahead and do that. What this essentially means is here we'll create our row variable, and this is going to be a string. And we're going to start out as empty, as we don't want anything in it to begin with. And then, as we know from the very first hint, is that the first one will print the rows, and the second one will print the columns within each row. So here we need to actually build the row. So in this for loop, we'll find the numbers for each of the columns, and then we'll aggregate that to our row string variable, and then we'll print that afterwards. So let's go ahead and do that. What we can do is going to be row, and then we're going to add on to row. So row is equal to row plus the string of whatever x times y is, right? Because that is the product that we want. So then if we do that, what we could do is we print row after we have built it, and then hopefully we'll see this will help us further along in our process. All right, okay, so this is sort of starting to look like a table, but all our numbers are all jumbled together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or it looks like 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 0. We can't really tell where the numbers should start being split up and what. So how can we fix this? So I am going to want to add tabs in between my numbers. So in order to do that, I'm simply going to add, after I add the product, I will add the tab space character. If we do this, we'll run it and then see how it goes. All right, perfect. Now this is looking to be like a table. Now we can submit it and see how we did. As you can see, we have successfully completed this exercise.